Hey, how are you guys doing? I am in Washington. I am going on a really noodle today. It's Sunday. It's a gorgeous day. Look at these beautiful Washington houses. It's lovely. So I thought I'd do some videos for you guys while I'm on my way walking up to Georgetown in Washington, D.C. My name is Susannah, if you've not met me before. If you have, lovely that you're back on my YouTube channel. If you haven't, well, congratulations for landing here. Well done, you guys. This channel is stacked full of brilliant information for you to succeed in property. Why? Because I kind of wanted to create the channel that I would have loved to have seen when I started in property all those years ago. And since then, I've done over 200 deals, £45 million worth of property, bought, sold, flipped, and I've built myself a major property portfolio. So me, I live in Bristol and Barcelona, half and half. I got homes in both places, and I do a lot of traveling the world now. So I'm here in Washington. It's November. And I'm going to Washington, Philadelphia, New York and Brooklyn, and then I'm celebrating Thanksgiving with my sister and brother-in-law in New York, which will be in Brooklyn, which will be fabulous. So, have I had tenants not pay me rent? Yes, but not very many. So I can tell you a couple of horror stories, but really it's not that difficult. It's quite easy to manage, so don't want you get too worried about it. So we definitely have people try to not pay rent, but they generally don't succeed. So what's the worst case scenario? If a tenant doesn't pay you rent, what can you do about it? Well, you clearly can serve an eviction notice, because if they haven't paid you rent, then they're in breach of their contract and you want them out of there, because you're doing what you're doing, you agreed to do, which is give them a property to live in, and they're not doing what they agreed to do, which is pay the rent. Aren't these houses gorgeous? I'm very much enjoying kind of old Washington. So number one, you can serve eviction notice. Number two, you can take legal action, and that would be if you catch it early enough through the small claims court. So what you would do is write 3 letters, letter 1, letter 2, letter 3, before legal action, and then put in a claim on the small court. That sounds scary. Honestly, guys, it's not that scary at all. You pay a small fee, which is dependent on how much the person owes you, and then the small claims court chunders on. Okay. Ooh, ooh, oh, it's like Lassie. Hi, Lassie. Like a slightly darker Lassie. Okay, so there's the kind of 2 main things. And then number 3, if the tenant doesn't pay you rent and the small claims court process goes through, they will get what's called a CCJ, a county court judgment, which means that will sit on their credit record for the next 7 years, and then you can take action to get the arrears paid to you. If they're working, then you can do an attachment of earnings so that their boss has to pay you every month, and if they've disappeared, you can do things like find a monkey to trace them, or you can just send it off to organisations who'll be able to manage all that debt process chase up for you. I don't want to scare you, because to be quite frank, it's quite simple. So there's your kind of worst case scenario. Oh, Suze, that sounds like such a load of hassle. It's not really. I mean, the first time I did a small claims court claim, I was shaking a bit, because, it did feel like a lot of hassle. One big tip is your MCOL, MCOL, money claim online. They never give you your password again. I don't know why. Oh, you can tell I'm in America, can't you? I don't know why they don't, but they don't. So remember to save your password. We had a bit of a sticky situation for a moment until we realized that we had saved our password. Okay, so there's your worst case scenario. How many tenants have I taken to court? 2. How many tenants have I had? Thousands. Why I've only ever taken 2 tenants to court, and one of them I ended up paid me, and one of them we're still chasing. Okay, so the first guy ended up 650 quid by the time he paid half, and then he disappeared. The other people, it's about 3,500. So it's under 5 grand that I'm owed in unpaid rent for my entire time as a landlord, with thousands and thousands. I'm just showing you these houses, thousands and thousands of tenants. Although that's an annoying amount of money, it's not terrible of the rent roll, and I've got a major rent roll coming in every month. The reason that I just don't generally tend to have problems is I'm very, very fast on it. So we use an automatic system called Arthur Online. When the rent comes in, we have to tick it off against the bank. They actually can, I'm just walking, I think there you go. Sorry, there's traffic words up there, so I just need to move. And then my system automatically then texts and emails the tenants if they're late. So straight away, the tenants are like, oh, okay. So it's a real indicator to the tenants that you're not going to get away with this. Immediately, if the rent isn't paid, the landlord, darn, is on it. What a shame. So that's the first thing that we do, is we have automation so you don't have to constantly be chasing people yourself. The second thing that we do is I'm very, very fast with those legal letters. Okay, day 4, day 7 and day 10. Letter before legal action, letter before legal action, letter before legal action. That immediately tells the tenant, oh my Lord, she's serious. Oh, look at this. Look at these beautiful houses. She's really serious. And so 99.99% of people at that stage actually pay their rent, because they don't want to get a CCJ, they don't want all the hassle. They're kind of just seeing, let's be quite honest with you, whether they could kind of get away with it, and you've just shown them that you're not the path of least resistance, you're not water trickling downhill, okay? That water needs to trickle somewhere else. And the other thing that we'll do is we'll actually pick the phone up and speak to them, because we want to find out if there's a problem, okay? So during COVID, we were quite worried, obviously, because of tenants being able to pay rent or not. And so we did a lot more communication with our tenants, picked the phone up and spoke to them. Not at all saying, oh, bless you, you don't need to pay your rent, because you do, you're legally contracted and you have to. But what's your situation and where are you at? And again, in COVID, what we did, we wouldn't normally do this, but we actually sent them regularly job listings, because if people were losing their jobs at the time, remember how hectic it was at the beginning? Then we wanted to make sure that they had access in that kind of scary confusion moment that they might be a bit worried, that we did some of the kind of basic thinking for them, and we were sending them lots of lists of people that were looking for workers, you know, like delivery drivers and things like that. So at least they'd be able to get some money coming back in, and then to be able to pay the rent. But we don't normally do that. So, number 1 is have very clear understanding of what you do if somebody does not pay you rent. You send them 3 letters before legal action, and then you take them to small claims court. I've only ever done that twice, and I've had thousands of tenants. Number 2 is you communicate very, very clearly with the system, and so generally they decide that they're not going to pay you. They decided that you're not the kind of soft touch, okay? And then the other thing is just, it's a process, don't worry about it. You will get a very small percentage of people trying it on. If you do not stop it at source, I mentored somebody years and years ago who was a fantastic guy, but he was owed over 100 grand in unpaid rent because he had not stopped it at source. He was not organised. It was not caught too quickly, okay? So you've got to stop it at source. But people will try it on a bit, and once they've discovered that you're not a person to be trying it on with, I'm afraid they'll go elsewhere, won't they? Right, good luck to you. I'm going off into windy Washington now. Bye just now.
Not quite sure where to start managing a portfolio? Learn to Let. My lettings pack, written for you guys, you can download it now. It is all the knowledge processes systems we use to run a major portfolio. Go grab it now.